As soon as Rasheeda Frost took center stage, the room seemed to freeze, and the glint in her eye told a story of joy, hope, and renewal. It had not been an easy one, but one that she had fought for, and there was no doubting the excitement in her voice as she told everyone that she was pregnant with Kirk Frost's child again. For Rashida, this announcement wasn't just a simple one. It was a victory, a testament to her tenacity and faith in love. I'm glad to report that Kirk and I are expecting again. Despite the turmoil of their past, the couple had endured many hardships during their marriage, including betrayals, misunderstandings, and the burden of their complicated past. Nevertheless, it appeared that they were prepared to create something beautiful together once more. While speaking to the media in front of flashing cameras, Rashida grinned, and her eyes glistened with emotion.
But you haven't signed anything, and he hasn't signed anything yet.
No.
Is that because are you guys still trying to work it out, or does it just make more sense for you guys to just be separated right now?
Well, the thing is, we've sat and had a conversation about trying to maybe not do it through attorneys and see if we can come to some type of agreement, that way. And at the same time, I also feel like, and it's not even the point of just trying to work it out, but I'm also like, I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, I pretty much kind of got the information, and am I ready to serve him with these papers? This is the first time something like this has happened in our marriage, and I'm feeling like, okay, is the answer immediately, although it's all this crazy stuff that's happened, is the answer immediately divorce, step into this place, or is it, let's try to figure out if we're gonna just separate and try to work out percentages, things like to that nature. So that's kind of where it is right now. Just maybe considering not having to do an actual divorce, but just at this moment, but just figuring out what we want to do and see if we want to go ahead and take it to the divorce line later, or that may not be the case. As of right now, who's to say? My main concern ain't even just the fact of filing the divorce. It's just about trying to, stay focused, not overstress myself, and get ready for this baby, whether he's a part of the situation or not.
We're pushing forward despite the difficult journey. Our love is stronger than ever, and this baby is a blessing. The Kirk stood as he stood next to her. His proud face mirrored hers, and he realized that all of his previous mistakes that had once driven Rashida to the brink were finally worth it. This child symbolized hope for their future and a new chapter in their complex relationship. It was a sign that they were dedicated to resolving their problems and fortifying their connection. Social media exploded with emotions when word got out, with fans, friends, and critics all weighing in. Some applauded the couple and praised them for overcoming their hardships. For Rashida and Kirk, the opinions of others didn't matter because they had weathered the storm together and were focused on the future. However, while they celebrated their news, not everyone was happy about the announcement. In fact, Jasmine, the woman who had played a major role in the drama of Kirk and Rashida's marriage, which left them distraught. The relationship between Kirk and Rashida had always been complicated because Jasmine had entered their lives years ago and brought a storm of emotions and conflict with her. The paternity of her child had caused tension between the two, and even though they had eventually reconciled, the unresolved feelings and scars from the past persisted. Jasmine had once thought that Kirk would pick her, and she had persuaded herself that the bond they shared would be strong. Shared was more than just a short-lived affair. But that dream had gradually fallen apart over time. Her relationship with Kirk had never been the fairy tale she had imagined, and the reality had been much more painful than she had ever anticipated. Now that Rashida has made her announcement, the past, the betrayal, the lost hope, all of it came crashing down in a flood of tremendous anguish as the reality hit in. Jasmine had spent years wishing for something more with Kirk, and now the two of them were together. Rashida was left to cope with the fallout from her own broken dreams, while Kirk and she celebrated a new baby together and stronger than ever. Because she had given so much of herself to Kirk, and in the end it wasn't enough. The family she had once hoped to start with him was now being built elsewhere. Jasmine broke down in private, away from the cameras and the public eye. The pain was unbearable, and she sat by herself in her apartment, her hands shaking as she scrolled through the innumerable texts on her phone from friends who offered their condolences and others from people who wanted to pick a side, even if they were unaware of the whole tale. All of that was irrelevant. It didn't alter the fact that Kirk had moved on, and more significantly, that Rashida was the one who had captured her heart. It brought back memories of the times when Kirk had assured her that he would be there for her, the times when she thought he genuinely cared, but now it all seemed like a far-off fantasy, a chapter that had long existed. In ways Jasmine could never have, Rashida had triumphed and fought for Kirk's affection. Her emotions were unrestrained, and she had made an effort to remain strong and move on. But the statement that had just been delivered felt like it had undone every step she had gone ahead over the years. The hurt was too great. This wasn't supposed to be this way, she muttered through sobs. Everything I had hoped for, even a family, was meant to be mine, but now all she had was her broken heart and the sting of rejection. Now that she saw the reality, Kirk's attention had always been like a pen swinging from one lady to another, leaving her in between. She was the one who never received the attention, the mistake, and the afterthought. Despite her tears, Jasmine knew deep down that this was just another painful chapter in her story, and like all chapters, it would eventually come to an end. She was unsure of how long it would take to recover from this wound, but she knew that her love for Kirk would never be enough to convince him to choose her. Meanwhile, Rashida and Kirk were moving forward, their hearts full of hope. They had been through hell and back, but they were doing what they always knew was possible, building a family and patching the cracks. The contrast between the two ladies was once again evident in their connection and acceptance of their future together. And with the news of their impending baby, they felt as though they had all they needed to complete their family. It was both a time of celebration and a reminder of all that had been lost, but time has a way of healing wounds, even the ones that seem insurmountable. Rashida was content with the life she had created, and Jasmine was torn apart by the fragments of her own broken dreams. Rashida's and Kirk's. While the world watched Rashida and Kirk embrace their joy, Jasmine's journey was just getting started. She would have to make her own way forward, learn to live with the lessons of the past, and eventually let go of the hurt that had defined so much of her life.